Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Patty Giarusso, and this is Let's Talk Pets on Society Bites Radio. Today, we welcome back to the show Jodi Clark Lopez, who's been with us before, and she's a pet bereavement counselor. And the connection that we have with our pets is so deep in our souls that it's hard to express when we've lost a pet. It can leave us with a sense of emptiness that we feel just cannot be filled. And grieving pet owners often feel upset that they didn't have more control over what happened to their pet, whether it was an illness or an accident due to aging, or even when a pet goes missing. People will blame themselves, wondering if they could have done more and struggle with a sense of guilt. So today we welcome Jodi back, and she's going to help talk to us and help grieving parents understand how to embrace their grief and the loss of a pet. Welcome to the show, Jodi.
Hi, Patty. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, so on June 9th, it was Pet Memorial Day, World Pet Memorial Day. So even though June 9th has passed, I thought, it would be a good time to revisit this topic because it is so important. And we do, I see more and more articles written about how the loss of a pet can affect people, sometimes more than the loss of a loved one. And I'm sure you deal with this all the time. So I wanted you to come back and just, give some of your tips, because last time your interview was so helpful. It sounded like, oh gosh, it's such a sad topic, but it was really helpful to me talking with you. And I think that it's just time to do it again.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. And I echo exactly what you're saying, that I think pet loss has become more validated. The grief that when we lose one of our beloved pets, it's become more validated and more accepted rather, versus maybe, even just 5 years ago. People don't poo-poo it. People realize what an important role pets play in our lives, the special bond that people and animals share. Just looking back at some recent statistics, I think Americans have spent something upwards of $22 billion on their pets. And I think somewhere close to 70% of homes in America have at least one pet in their home. So that just goes to show the importance of pets and the role that they play in our lives. And they are family members. And I remember looking back about a week or so ago when they did do the National Pet Memorial Day, where I just saw Facebook and social media flooded with pictures and stories of pet remembrances and all sorts of anecdotes about people's pets and funny stories. And I think we need more of that. We need more of people doing outward things to show the love and the companionship that they shared with their pets, rather than just focusing on the end of life and the sad times. And like you said, the guilt and pet loss they go hand in hand. So there's a lot of stuff that we could do to outwardly display the love and to kind of keep the memories and the happy times alive when our pets are no longer with us.
Right. I remember you saying that before, and that was a helpful statement, keeping the happy memories, to try to replace the sadness. And of course, it doesn't replace it, but it does help you cope with it.
Yes, exactly. And, I can't say this enough, is that there is no right or wrong way to grieve and to mourn the loss of a pet. What works and what helps one person heal may not work or be healing to somebody else. It depends on your personality. It depends on your support system. And, there's a lot of factors that can go into how you want to commemorate a pet's life that can help heal and can help keep that love and that relationship to keep going on. A wonderful example is planting a living memorial, because that's something that will still continue to go on after your pet is gone. For instance, if you plant a tree, if you make a garden, if you make a special part of your yard with, a sculpture or a tree that'll bloom and grow, it's kind of like symbolic of that love that still is continuing on.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else that may want to do, and I've been to big services for people who, when they've lost their pets, where they've had clergy, where they've had friends and family members. There's been food afterwards. There's been, basically on par with a funeral that somebody would have for a human burial.
Mm-hmm.
And there may be somebody else who just wants to kind of quietly reflect and maybe go to a park or a special place that held a lot of memories of fun times that they shared with their pet, a beach or a park or a favorite dog park, and just kind of sit and reflect on the happy times and the happy memories.
Yeah. It's a difficult thing, and one of the things I see almost every day people requesting help. I just saw it today, as a matter of fact. Somebody's cat is very old and sick, and somebody asking, how do I know when it's okay to make that decision? And I know I talked with you about that before, because that is something that does cause a lot of trauma ahead of the death of their animal, as well as a lot of guilt. Is it okay to do that? How do I know? It's a big burden on people.
It is a big burden. It is. There's a wonderful tool for people who want to see something concrete called the Quality of Life Scale. I think we talked about that the last time that we did our interview. And it's something that you could physically see to kind of keep track of your pet's good days and bad days, with things like, are they eating? Are they drinking? Can they get around? Are they enjoying being a dog or being a cat? And only that, as the owner of the pet. If they're happy, do they enjoy going on walks, or are they just kind of living and you're kind of having them hang on for your sake as opposed to their sake? And it's very, very difficult. And it's one, hopefully people have good relationships with their vets that they could openly talk about when it's time. And it is a difficult decision. And a lot of grief happens before the final goodbye as well, because you're always thinking, you see them sick, or you see them, they're not a puppy or a kitten anymore. And you're grieving that loss already before they even left this earth.
Yeah. And one thing that, we're in this still in this pandemic situations, and most of our vets here, I think almost all of them, still will not allow you into the office. They will come and take the pet in. And so for somebody that may have to put their cat to sleep or dog, they can't even be with them. So more and more people are reaching out lately asking for vets that can come to their homes. I would just, I don't think I could deal with having to take, my pet and walk away and not be there with it. It's a hard thing to be there with it, but that makes it, these times that we're living in right now, make it even harder, I think.
Yeah, they're making a hard situation even more difficult and heartbreaking. Like you said, it's the same up here where we are, even just for regular vet visits. They're doing like curbside pickup and they're not letting you in. I'm not sure how it's working I know in our area, and I think the field is kind of blossoming a little bit more with end-of-life care and hospice vets that do come to the house. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing during this pandemic, but I think that is even more of a reason for people to reach out to support systems and to people who are going to be supportive and who are going to validate their grief, because the grief is real.
Yeah.
It's there's that unconditional love that humans and pets share that's like no other. And it's not to downplay the loss of a spouse or the loss of a parent. It's just there's a different dynamic when you lose a pet, because pets don't judge you. They love you no matter what, and just want to please you and want to make you happy. So it's a big void when you do lose one, and especially when you make it the choice to euthanize, and you can't be there with the pet. And it's good, I think, now more than ever, kind of have conversations with veterinarians before all this takes place, as far as planning. What is it going to look like in the times that we live now when you do have to bring your cat or dog or any pet into the vet to be euthanized? What kind of support are you giving? Can they do, I don't know if they're doing anything with FaceTimes or anything, or virtual visits. But it's good to have that discussion beforehand so you know what to expect. And it's good to have, like I said, the support system is huge. Nobody could take away our pain. Nobody has the magic answer to make our grief go away and make the pain stop. But I think there's comfort just knowing that you're not alone. Mm-hmm. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, I know. And the times right now make it difficult, as you say, because we can't always be together, I guess, with other people. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is difficult. And I think a lot of it, too, is during this time right now is I don't think our brains are thinking as clearly as they would during, quote unquote, normal times. Mm-hmm. So I think it's good to talk things out with, like I said, your vet, with supportive family members, to kind of get other people's opinions on stuff, because our brains are they're on overdrive right now.
Yeah, I know. It's a totally different, the world. I mean, it really is a totally different time. It sure is. One thing that I feel too is the people that have lost their pets by them going missing, they suffer a loss as well. And I think they also suffer a lot of guilt. Are there some things you could suggest or say that may help people through that type of situation?
I would say think of it in terms of how your pet would want you to feel. Would your pet want you to be guilty or miserable or upset? I think our pets just want us to be happy, and they know that we would never intentionally want to harm them or lose them. And in life, accidents happen, bad things happen. There's no answers as to why they happen. And we can't go back and redo mistakes. And I think the most important thing to realize is that, if a pet goes missing or dies due to an accident, that you didn't do it on purpose. Mm-hmm. And to remember the love and the bond that you shared.
Yeah. Now, do you know right now, I know there's different support groups. There's one here, but I don't even know if they're operating right now. Do you know of any types of things like that might be online, like how they're doing all the Zoom meetings and things like that somebody could look at or join into to get some support with people suffering through the same thing right now?
Yes, the best resource that I've come across is the Association for Pet Loss and Bereavement. And they host chat rooms, and there's different schedules for the chat rooms. They're all hosted by volunteers. And there's different schedules on topics such as guilt, such as